different.
Good afternoon. I'm speaking to you live just outside
I like to think balding is just God's way of saying, now let's see you get laid.
Is it true that if you don't use it, you lose it?
What I'd really like to do is put the greatness of this man in perspective.
The hair loss community has a lot to be thankful for, having you as a spokesperson.
You mean you just call this guy up?
About life and about reality.
And now, America's #1 reality radio show for men. Live from Los Angeles, it's Spencer Kobren's The Bald Truth.
Joseph W. Tillman. Joseph T. Tillman. I don't know your middle initial. Joseph Y. Tillman.
That was a unexpected development.
What's happening?
Not a whole lot, man. How about you?
I can't complain. Everything's pretty good. I want to apologize for not being here last week. Just to let everyone know, I had a medical procedure that went swimmingly.
God, there's so many ways I could go with that one. But it's good. Yes. We have a healthy, bouncing baby, middle-aged man here.
Yeah, dude, if I'm middle-aged, that means I'm going to live to 114.
You know what I mean. You're not old enough to be called a senior citizen.
I have.
So
I've been invited to AARP. Still haven't decided on that one. Except I do realize that there's a lot of discounts. Now it's not great for the chicks if I pull out the AARP card at the Palm. But to get 15% off my entree, I might do it.
Well, you can do it if like when you're out by yourself. The blue plate special.
You know what? I think it would be funny to do it out with a lady. Pics. What?
Then send me a selfie with the blue plate special in front
I
of
would 100% do that, man.
I know you would.
No, I don't shy away from my age. I think it's funny. I mention it all the time, and I think people think that I mention it because maybe I'm self-conscious about it. I mention it because it's just like, it is what it is. Why be shy about that? And also, at least in my worldview, it denotes just the amount of experience that I have, as well as you, my friend Joe Tillman, in this industry. Are you going to listen to a 25-year-old kid or a 35-year-old kid who's basically their brain is just fully formed about having surgery because they have been, I guess, uniquely savvy enough, and I don't even know if it's that unique anymore when it comes to this generation, to somehow get themselves online and, develop some sort of following on social media? How does that make anybody an expert, especially in this insane field? They've never worked in it. They know nothing about what happens behind the scenes.
This most complicated of surgical specialties in the cosmetic space. Like, people have no idea just how complicated it sounds. It sounds easy. You just move hair from point A to point B, and in that regard it is, but the trick is to make it survive. The trick is to make it look natural. And the trick is to maintain the donor area without looking like they've had a hair transplant.
Well, I was speaking to a young physician from the Netherlands yesterday. Excuse me. I had a really great conversation with the guy, and he was expressing to me, and when I say young, I mean, he has enough experience. The guy's got over 1,000 cases under his belt. He's been in the trenches and in the field for long enough to see everybody's mistakes, to rectify his own mistakes over time, and to realize that younger consumers like himself or younger have been completely duped and conned by what's happening on social. And he reached out to me asking how he can be involved, how he could help, whatever it is. This guy happens to do the work by hand by himself. And I like the younger guys who are getting involved in the field, who actually are taking hair transplant surgery seriously, because while I have no problem with delegating, that's the way the industry developed. you have to delegate to people who know what the fuck they're doing. And most people who are getting involved in the field now are not doing that.
No. And I have to say, like while you're talking about this very important subject that's just of stunning import.
It's riveting.
My hair is on point today. I rarely say that, but I got a haircut right before the show, and I'm happy with it.
I have to say, you look very handsome. No homo.
Thank you very much. No homo back.
Thank you.
Just saying. The
Very
style,
handsome.
like,
Very young. Very
literally
youthful.
did this 3 minutes before we went on air. Just
And
saying.
I like the fact that you wear the black shirt every week because I wear the blue shirt every week.
Yeah.
It's too much to think about.
It is.
And I'm just like, you know what? If my entire Instagram page is just me in the blue shirt, it's fine. If you can't tell it's a different show, it's fine. You know?
Why does the Instagram account have 97 postings of the same damn image?
Yeah.
What's up with that?
Yeah. If you can't
that's
tell
why I
it,
changed the color on the logo that I put up every week. I changed the color just for that reason, to indicate that it's a different show from the previous week.
yeah.
That's
well,
it.
I think the only way people can tell is like if they really look closely, they can see if I've been drinking the night before, or if my hair got longer, or whatever. You know, if the comb over is not working quite as well as it did the week or 3 weeks before, because that means I need a haircut in general. Phone number is 888-659-3727. If you're watching the show, you know who we are. If you're new to the broadcast, we're the hair loss guys. I hate to say it because that sounds so fucking trite. But I'm the founder of the American Hair Loss Association. I am the author of The Bald Truth and The Truth About Women's Hair Loss, books that were published by Simon & Schuster and Contemporary Books more than 20 years ago. Been in the field forever. And I started this broadcast on the radio in New York City back in 1998. It has gone through many iterations. And now we are on Joe Tillman's, the Hair Transplant Mentor, the guy on the left's YouTube channel, the Hair Transplant channel. And, of course, every once in a while, I'll throw something up on Spotify or on iTunes if I feel like it. But, and I say this all the time, things are about to change. I decided to go all in. We talked about that for about a year and a half, but, you know, finally the right opportunity has arisen that I feel comfortable with to kind of get out of retirement. And a lot of changes are happening. And probably in the next 4 weeks, I would say, depending on how fast I decide to move my ass to make it happen, because it really is up to me.
Well, I hope within like by next week would be great.
I think by
Mr. Hard Worker.
I think by next week you'll be able to make an announcement, and I think that we'll be able to use some of the assets. And I have to be cryptic about it, but it's not going to be across the board out there for, you know, public consumption for maybe 3 weeks or a month, something like that.
I just want to know if you've read any good magazines lately.
I have.
Good. Good. That's awesome.
I will, and I plan on raising my hair game too. I really do, Mike.
Really?
I plan on doing my best. Not raise my hair game. This is the best. This is the best it gets. Depends on the haircut. Depends on how much it's grown, and depends on how much time I spend on it. Like today, I rushed. But you know, listen, what am I going to?
I think I'm going to take up a collection. I'm going to start a GoFundMe to encourage Spencer to go with the Kwai Chang Caine look.
I don't know what that means.
Caine from Kung Fu.
Oh, to shave my head?
Yes. I'd pay good money to see that.
If you
actually look like Caine from Kung Fu.
If there's enough people that are willing to donate to that, if we can say raise, I'll do it for like $5 million on the air.
You heard it here first, folks. That's all it takes.
$5 million cash.
On the barrelhead.
Yeah.
I like it.
And I will shave my head on the air.
Raphael, no, I do not have TikToks to show us on the channel or on this broadcast because the format just doesn't work. It gets stretched out and looks stupid, and the whole thing's foolish looking because I don't know how to adjust that. So just go to the TikTok channel at Hair Loss Guy on TikTok.
Guys, the phone number is 888-659-3727. We have a full board. We're going to go right to the phones. We can talk more about, what Joe titled the program, because there was a New York Post article that came out that essentially is talking about a new law in the United Kingdom that will essentially make it sexual harassment for anyone to make bald jokes at someone at work. Which I got to tell you, I mean, look, it's kind of funny, and I think it's kind of interesting that, we talk about this being the last bastion of political incorrectness, but the reasoning behind it is a little insane, and also it's unrealistic, because the lawmakers or the judges essentially said, well, since many more men suffer from hair loss than women, it really is kind of based on sexual identity or sexual. It's not even sexual identity, just male versus female.
Yeah.
But that's not the case, because 40% of hair loss sufferers are women.
Yeah. So they didn't do their due diligence on that bill or law or whatever it's not a law, but it's a proposal. And I also think it's useless, because are there really men that will make such a stink of being bald shamed to where they would actually file charges against someone?
In today's society, for sure. I've never seen.
Maybe.
Listen, I came out publicly to talk about the pain and the trauma hair loss caused me as a young man. The fact that I believed that it was a disease of the spirit that should be taken seriously. That wasn't that easy 24 years ago. That was kind of like, it wasn't the sexiest thing in the world to do, and it took a lot of fucking balls. Now it's a little different, and I'm glad that it's easier for guys to talk about it.
Oh, yeah.
But then there's the other end of the spectrum where all of a sudden everyone's complaining about everything. Like, it's better just not to comment on people's looks to begin with, especially in a work environment. You could say, like, when I see a woman, an attractive woman, I don't say that you look great today, or wow, you look really pretty today. Can't say it anymore. I say, you're looking very well. How fucked up is that? Now, I would say that the woman would probably appreciate the fact that, I told her she was attractive and she looked pretty. But it still may trigger her. I have no fucking clue.
Well, look, it helps you to understand her mental state, because any woman that gets offended by someone saying you look good today or you look great or whatever, that's a bit far. And for normal everyday interactions, and it gives you everything you need to know on whether you need to keep walking or not.
Well, but that's the truth. But the thing is, being in the position that I'm in, which sadly is quasi-public, the last thing I need is for some broad, did I just say that? Some woman to accuse me of sexual harassment because I said she looks pretty.
Some broad. Oh, God.
So I just tell people they look well. You're looking well today, Joe.
I'm personally offended by that.
Okay, you look pretty. 888-659-3727. Let's see who this is. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this and where are you calling from?
Hello, gentlemen. This is Dave from Brooklyn.
Dave from Brooklyn. What's happening, my man?
Okay, how's everything?
Oh, pretty good. Your phone sucks today.
Oh, I'm sorry.
See if you can.
Let me try to.
Maybe you could speak into your speaker.
Is that a little better?
It is a little better. Yeah. I mean, I can still tell it's the mellifluous voice of Dave from New York.
Exactly.
But it's a little kind of like you're underwater.
It's definitely not on speaker. So You know what? I have a window open. That is probably the culprit.
I don't know. Now? So what's up? No, go ahead, man. It's fine.
Well, anyway, yeah, I just wanted to tell some of the callers and you gentlemen, of course, as well, that there is actually a scarless surgery for the first time, maybe in medical history. And what they do is, have you guys heard about this?
No, tell me.
No.
Well, it's okay. So it's kind of like microneedling. Like, have you ever seen one of those electric microneedles where they just kind of like, punctures the skin in succession, and you see like a whole bunch of needles? Not the machine one, not the derma roller, of course.
Are you talking? Is it actually a microneedle, or is it does it actually burn the skin slightly?
Well, yeah, that's just what it is. It looks like needles, but they're actually hollow cylinders.
Yeah.
And they're about 0.4 millimeters in diameter.
Mm-hmm. And
what they do is they pierce the skin, and then they suck it out. And they suck out these tiny little 0.4 millimeters of skin.
Yeah.
And it's called a
Go ahead.
It's called a microcoring.
Yeah, I've heard of that, and I actually read something about that not too long ago.
Yeah, I was just wondering if it may have some applications for somebody who has FUE scars, perhaps, or even FUT scarring.
That's actually it's an interesting question. Right now, the whole idea, I guess, of microcoring, from what I was able to gather, is that because you're removing such a small amount of skin, the skin heals with no visible scarring. Now, there's going to be some scarring, obviously, but it's not going to cause any hypopigmentation. And is that it? Hypopigmentation or hyperpigmentation? Hypo or hyper. So you're not going to see that there's a scar. And they're doing it around the eyes and different parts of the face to create a skin tightening effect. So the thought is, and Dave, you read about this, so you can correct me if I'm wrong at any point. But my thought is, if you're removing these tiny bits of skin, as the skin heals, it slowly tightens to some degree. Now, in theory, that sounds really awesome. I don't know what the long-term results are going to be on humans, on people who are kind of the guinea pigs of this. And as far as hair is concerned, yeah, I mean, maybe it could diminish some scars. That might be a possibility. But if you're going in scar tissue, you're basically just bringing scar tissue to scar tissue together. So how much could it really change the look of the scar? You know what I mean?
Well, from what I read, I could be wrong, but I read that even under the microscope, that it did not show a scar. I guess the 0.4 was the threshold of how small a puncture could be, right? Just like a hypodermic needle doesn't leave a scar, of course. So, and as far as what you're saying about the scar tissue, I know that, for example, a third-degree burn, for example, right? There is no dermal tissue beneath the scar. It's all scar.
Right.
But if it's a puncture, a cut, a score of an FUE, that goes about, I think, 1.5 to 2 millimeters deep, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh. Yeah. And I mean, this is an interesting theoretical conversation. Go ahead.
I certainly don't know if this is going to be practical, and they're off labeling it already for the knee and different places, but it goes 4 millimeters deep. So if there is any dermal tissue beneath that FUE scar, I think there could be regeneration. And in addition to that, like I think you just mentioned, it can also activate growth factors, so there could be a tightening effect. And they're saying 0 scars even under the scope.
Well, I can promise you this, Dave, that there's somebody right now listening to the program, probably in Canada, by the way, who's going to start offering this online next week. Because this guy, as soon as he hears some shit on this show, he's out the door. He's either in Italy or he's here, and he's offering it in his practice. So we may actually see if there's results based on this particular physician. But yeah, I think it's interesting. I think that I'm going to look more into that, actually. When I saw it, the first thing I'm thinking about is, can I make myself look even younger than I do right now?
Well, you can, because it apparently can remove about 5 to 8% of excess skin on the lower face, neck area, and they're also using it on knees. If you just go to Ellacor, ELLECOR, Ellacor.
Now, let me ask you a question. That's interesting. So it could probably remove growths and non-malignant growths on the face to some degree, or on other parts of the body without burning or without any cauterization. At least diminish them.
Right, and that's the other exciting fact. There is no radio frequency. There are no energy thermals, so there's no chance of, buccal fat, burning off, getting to the fat.
I got the shit under my eye that I love to fucking get removed that way, if that's possible.
Well, I'll tell you what. If you go to YouTube and they actually have like a video of it, so you could see it there. Listen, gang, I don't want to waste any more of your time.
This is actually probably going to be the best call of the week for me because you're going to be helping me. So how do you spell that?
ELLE.
Yeah.
COR. And if you just type in Elocore microcoring on YouTube, there's a few videos, and the offices just got it this month, I think, and they had to send it back to get recalibrated, and they're saying that they may have to alter it for different parts of the body, including the scalp. I asked them about the scalp, and they said that, it's already being done off-label. So, I would imagine there's going to be applications for, eye area, perhaps. That would be a little bit close to the eye, of course, but, perhaps the scalp. So I was just, I hear guys talking about SMP into the scar tissue, and I was just wondering that, for somebody who has a very dilapidated scar region, and for FUE or FUT, this may be something. So I just figured I'd bring that up.
Well, you know what? I appreciate that. I'm going to look into it more on a personal level. But that's interesting, and I'll speak to some docs about it. See what they think.
Gentlemen, love your show. You know how much I love you guys.
Oh, man.
Have a great weekend.
You're the best, man. Thanks a lot for the
Dave.
call.
Take care.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
The phone number is 888-659-3727. That's 888-659-3727. Yeah, I am a little jealous of Joe's hairstyle today. I got to tell you. Let's see who this is. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this and where are you calling from?
Hey, Joe. Hey, Spencer. How you guys doing?
Okay, man. How are you? Who's this?
Good. Who is this?
My name is Gorilla.
Gorilla. What's up, man?
How you doing? So,
where are you calling from again?
I'm calling from NYC.
Okay.
Yeah, you talked to David from Brooklyn. I know him. I just want to tell him, David, just call the party line. Just call the PL and don't forget this time. Anyway.
So what's up, man?
Anyway, so I was looking into possibly, I was curious about how much these techs are making. And I've read somewhere that some of these techs can make as much as six figures.
Oh, you
We're
can
talking
make
like maybe 200 to 400,000 a year.
You can make more. You can easily make. 200,000 a year if you really are working. I've known some techs that can make about $400,000 a year, especially if they're, getting percentages of the cases and they're going door to door.
So, what are the requirements for getting into that particular gig?
You have to have legs and hands and arms.
Not
and eyes.
And a pulse. And a pulse.
And a pulse.
And a pulse.
That's it. Those are the only requirements.
That's the same thing to get into a CEO.
And preferably the hands of a small Asian child.
Yeah. If you have good hand-eye coordination, you have good dexterity. Like I actually, luckily, I still have good vision, and I was kind of a skilled laborer as a kid. I know that if I really spent some time learning how to do this, I would crush. You'd have to have patience.
Wow.
You have to have patience too.
Yeah.
So where would one start in order to start that career to get that lifted off the ground?
Just walk through where are you, New York? Yeah, just go to YouTube and walk through one of the doctor's door and say you work cheap.
Okay.
And then they may train you.
Okay.
Maybe Joe can help you out on where you can go to learn how to be a hair transplant technician. How old are you?
I'm 38.
All right. And you're looking for a career change. You're looking to.
No, I'm not. I'm just curious about it. That's all.
Well, if you basically need zero training to get into a training program. I'm using air quotes, and I use that term loosely. I have known receptionists who I would speak to on the telephone like a week prior to then calling the office again, and I'd be like, where's so-and-so? Oh, she's in surgery, training on someone else's scalp, some unsuspecting patient's head. So, yeah, Now, that's not to say that these people don't become skilled at what they do. It's like anything else. You have enough time on tissue, you can be great, better than a doctor. But you don't. There's no requirements. You don't need any type of medical experience, or you don't need to be like you go to medical assistant school or any shit like that, like Bryman or whatever. You could just say, hey, I want to do this. Let's, find the right company and they'll hire you.
Right, and I'm sure. It's a tedious job. But I'm sorry, Joe.
Literally go to Turkey and walk into any clinic and just make up some credential, and they'll hire you on the spot, and that's your training.
You'll have to start smoking cigarettes, though. But yes,
yeah. Turkey's not. That's not a surprise coming from Turkey.
Yeah.
So I have another question with somewhat of a little dilemma. So I did see. Well, I had a video conference with Dr. Cotto, and he suggested I do 3,500 grafts. The problem with that is that's a little bit over my budget. If I were to translate from dollars to euros, or euros to dollars. So I kind of feel kind of awkward if I were to call the office back and say, listen, Dr. Cotto, listen, I don't feel comfortable with 3,500 grafts. Could you lower it a bit? I mean, because I feel like if I do that, I feel like I'm questioning his profession. You know what I mean, and his experience.
Well, let me stop right there. So let me ask you this:
Okay.
What kind of hair loss are you experiencing, and what's your goals in one surgery?
So temples and the front is thinning, and I want all that in density, in high density.
Okay. Is it lowering of your hairline? Is it when you say temples, including temple points, or just the juncture between the side and the hairline? Because there's a difference.
Juncture between the juncture between the hairline and the line.
Okay. And is this kind of filling in where your existing hairline, like your natural hairline, would be, or are you lowering any degree?
I'm just filling in just the front part where the temple area just hits the trident, the triangle of the
right.
Almost like you know what I mean. I don't exactly have a widow's peak,
right.
But I just want to fill in that area that the normal course of hair loss in men in general.
Well, you have to ask yourself, what are you willing to accept as a compromise? Because if you want to go to, say, like, I don't know what the cost is or anything like that, but if you want to maybe ask him if 2,800 grafts is more reasonable, or it not more, but is reasonable based on your budget, the question for you is, are you going to be happy with maybe a higher hairline, because that's what it would require, or less density than you may have had in mind, or that he may have projected would be possible? Because that's what this comes down to. If you can't afford what he recommended based on what you told him your goals were, then you're the one that needs to compromise on what your goals are. You need to change what your goals are in order for him to, or well, I don't know about him, but for any ethical surgeon to say, sure, we can do less and do the same job. That doesn't make any sense.
Right. Yeah, I agree with you. It's just that, Joe, I've been to a couple of other transplant surgeons, and they've recommended 2,500. But then Quoto recommends 3,500, and this is through video. So it's harder to diagnose what's going on through video than it is person to person.
Well, no, you're right. But back up. So what? Who did your other consultations and recommended 2,500 grafts?
Rahal and Bobek.
Okay, and you saw both of them in person?
I saw Rahal in person. I had a telephone conversation with Babak. He saw my photos, and I had a video with Quoto.
Okay, yeah. So, based on how I know these other doctors, or at least one of them operates. One used to operate. God rest his soul. I can't understand why there would be such a disparity other than the fact that he didn't see you properly through video. I understand how one clinic will give a higher estimate simply because of their experience with density and coverage or the lack thereof if it's a lower estimate. But you compared Kudo to two other clinics that are known for getting high density where it's appropriate. So I don't think that the recommendation from Kudo makes a lot of sense, except for the fact that maybe he didn't have the visual cues that he needs, or that he would normally see you in person, because he only saw you through a video feed. So I think that there would be a chance that you get to Spain to see him, and he says, you know what, that was an overestimate. I think about 2,800 is probably more in line, because if there's that much of a disparity, that's over a 30% disparity, or about a 30% disparity in the estimates for the same area.
That's something that actually happened with Rahal. His assistant recommended, when I talked to the assistant, he recommended like 3,000 or 3,200. But then when I saw Rahal in person, he lowered the count to 2,500.
Yeah. Who was the assistant?
This was a long time ago. This was 6 years ago. I forget.
Oh God. Okay. Yeah, that doesn't count. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, hang on. So you saw. Okay. So the assessment was 6 years ago from Rahal. When was the assessment from Kudo?
A year and a half ago.
Oh Jesus! Did you lose more hair?
Yeah, a little bit more, but not much. A little bit more.
Hello. That's
okay.
That's why
I know what you mean, but yeah, but it's not that much. I didn't lose that much.
It may not seem like much, but the doctor, like if you presented your before 6 years ago when you first saw, go back to Rahal, get another assessment, see what he says. It'll most likely be a lot higher than 2,500. It'll probably be closer to 3,500.
Okay, yeah, I see your point.
Yeah. In person.
I gotcha. In person.
Yeah.
Right. All right. No problem.
All right, man. Listen, good luck. I would listen to Joe if I were you. I listen to him about just about everything, except for...
Me too. Yeah. And you too, Spencer.
Except for my sex life, but yeah.
Yeah, I get off on you guys. That's too much information.
Hello.
That's a little TMI, dude. No, but I listen, I appreciate it. Whatever. I'll take whatever I get.
Yeah.
All right, dude. Listen,
sounds good.
Good luck.
Thank you,
Thanks
man.
for the call.
Take
one. Care. Bye-bye.
You got it.
Phone number is 888-659-3727. Go ahead.
And the guys in the chat room, they're saying, I'm surprised Joe didn't ask his Norwood level. I was getting to that, but I wanted to see. I knew there was something off with the disparity, so I was trying to whittle down to that before I asked him what the Norwood level was. So it doesn't matter what the Norwood level was at this point. It's a 6-year time difference and continued loss. So whatever Norwood he was 6 years ago, he's probably at least one more Norwood or more today. So that's, yeah. So the original assessments were rendered null and void. Norwood level is irrelevant. So there you go.
Okay. I mean, I wasn't even listening. I was outside smoking a cigar. 888-659-3727. Let's see who this is. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this and where are you calling from?
Hey, what's going on? This is Patrick from Missouri.
Patrick from Missouri. How are you,
Hello,
man? Where in Missouri are you?
I'm doing good. How are you guys?
Pretty good. Whereabouts in Missouri?
I'm a little bit outside of the St. Louis area.
Okay. All right. I was just curious. So what's going on?
Well, the first thing was I just wanted to say I'm new to the show, new to you guys. I just wanted to say I like what you guys are doing.
Oh, thank you, man.
I think
how'd you find out about us?
I think I just kind of came across it on YouTube from doing research and stuff. I found Joe, and then just kind of happened to come across watching the show one day, and
nice.
Here I am now. So,
well, welcome, man. Right. So, what's up?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I wanted to ask a question to you guys. I've been looking into doing a hair transplant with Nugenics in India, and I know that's somebody that Joe, that you have endorsed on your YouTube channel and that kind of stuff. So my question was, they have a pretty wide range of of prices for their procedures.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to get your opinion on, I mean, their like very top tier, most expensive procedures are with the main doctor there. I can't think of her name, but
Erica Bonsall.
They're right. They're the lower ones are, they just have like, I guess who they would consider like an entry level doctor that works for them, or they, a senior doctor. I mean, what is your opinion on going with, either like the senior doctor or the entry level doctor with that clinic, just, as opposed to just paying the extra to have the main doctor do it?
Well, it's a great question, and I've had this question a few times behind the scenes. I look at like I have zero opinion on the price packages that they have, because it's irrelevant to me. I look at what am I most comfortable with, but regardless of the money.
Mm-hmm.
If you take money out, if you take money out of any decision-making process, the final answer can be vastly different than if money's involved. So I remove the money to make my decisions, and then I bring money back into it to see if my decision is financially viable. So I tell people that they're looking at situations like this, go with what you feel most comfortable with based on discussions with them. You ask them the questions. Why is it better to go with the top tier package versus the lower tier package when it comes to the final outcome? I think that's a really important question of any clinic. When they have these different packages, it's like, so if I get a lower price package, is it going to be just as good as a higher price package? And if it's not as good as a higher price package, why is it offered to begin with?
Right.
Why is it offered?
I'm going to be completely candid, because my thought process is, maybe it's similar, maybe it's a little different, but I'm not a fan of these price packages. Yes, both physicians who own the clinic are IHRS accepted members, but nobody else in that clinic has applied to the organization. So I have no fucking clue what they are offering now.
Right. That's kind of my thought too. I mean, you don't know who it's going to be.
Right. Now, with that said, I also have faith in, the training. I know that Dr. Pradeep and Dr. Erica, they're not going to want to have anybody working under the auspices of their clinic, their license, and, their name fucking people up. But, I would want to know how much time on tissue these people have. Who are the technicians that are going to be working with these people? Are they the same type of techs or the same technicians that work with you? Or is there a wholly different group of technicians that work with these junior physicians?
Yep.
And how much training have they had? Now, I've had conversations about this before, and I'm very candid about it. There's a lot of people out there who are probably thinking, well, why would you speak to this truth, Spencer, if these two physicians are paying members of the International Alliance of Hair Restoration Surgeons? I speak to this truth because that is what I do. And I don't feel comfortable personally telling a family member to go with a physician who hasn't applied to the IHRS.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I think that's fair.
And that's the thing about us. It's like the moment we stop speaking the truth about this kind of thing, our opinions, then we lose credibility. And I think what Spencer said is very telling about that aspect, because eugenics is they're a very visible and publicly accessible member of IHRS and Hair Transplant Mentor and all these things. But I think it's important to understand, like someone in the chat room was saying, well, Joe's an undercover millionaire. No, the money doesn't matter when you're making the decision. What matters is you make a decision, and do you have the money for it? Because if you don't have the money for it, then you save up, right? That's where I'm going with this. So if you decide, well, I'd love to go with Dr. Bonsall, or I'd love to go with Dr. Setti, but I just can't afford it, because you made that decision by taking the money out of the process. And then you come back and you say, all right, well, then maybe I can't get it done, in August. I need to wait till February of next year when I can save up some more money. Because ultimately that decision should be something that you're not only comfortable with, it should be something that you should understand as being imperative for you, so that you don't feel ridiculous if it doesn't work out the way you want, and you're like, God, I wish if I just saved up another 6 months.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why I say that.
I am, the more that I think about it, I don't know. I mean, there's clinics that they're growing, and I think it's great as far as, being an entrepreneur and a business person myself. I understand that, need and that want to grow. But our corner's going to be cut in the end, when this growth happens, when there's multiple facilities that are being opened. And how are people how are you going to have quality control for all the different doctors that are going to be working under the clinic's name? So that's where my problems, and I start to see problems arise. I have known guys who are really great at what they do over the years, and I've been doing this for almost 25 years. They start to bring on associates. And then all of a sudden, you're getting complaints from that clinic where there were no complaints prior to that point. I'm not saying that's occurred yet, but, you got to do your due diligence on the physician who's performing the surgery and the staff that will be in the room and laying hands on your head.
Okay.
That's the bottom line.
Gotcha.
So if you're willing to do that and maybe meet with them, speak to the doctors that are going to potentially be performing surgery with you, find out exactly what their credentials are, how long they've been, how many surgeries have they performed themselves with the staff they're using. These are all important questions that people are afraid or don't know that they should be asking. They just figure, oh, great, they're with eugenics. I'm going to sign me up for the cheaper package.
Yeah, and I think that you should take advantage of the fact that Dr. Erica and Dr. Pradeep are going to be in New York City doing consultations sometime next month. I don't know if it's been announced yet, but contact them so you can set up a meeting so you can actually talk to them face-to-face about this and say, express the same questions and concerns that you did here on the show and see what they say.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, man. I hope we were able to help you.
All right, sounds good, guys.
All right, good luck.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Thanks for calling.
Bye.
Yeah, I'll be getting a WhatsApp message tonight, but whatever. Phone number is 888-659-3727. I got to stick to my guns, man. That's what I do. That's how I feel about it, Joe.
That's what we do, Spencer.
Oh, that's what we do, but I wasn't speaking for you. I was speaking for me. Let's see who this is.
I know.
Hey, you're on the air. Who's this and where are you calling from?
Hey, this is Bruce in Houston.
Bruce, how are you?
Bruce!
I'm good. Hey, buddy. Man, I just drove in. I just drove in from Plano today.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wow.
So, I went ahead and I had my last procedure done. Dr. Yaker yesterday.
Wow.
And
how'd it go?
So, I mean, it went. I was really impressed with his bedside manner and his professionalism. He did fly in one of his techs from Vancouver, and then the other guy that was there, he's been doing this kind of work, I guess, for 30 years now.
Yeah.
Named Mike. Nice guy.
Yeah.
And I asked him about you, Joe, and he said that you were going to come and visit him. You couldn't before because of COVID or something. And so hopefully you can get down there. But, I guess there's good and bad to it. I mean, the good news is that, they were going to shoot for 18 to 1900 in the mid scalp, because I'd already had that work done previous 2 times before. And then he was going to fill in the scar from the tricho closure that Dr. Rocha had done. And I'm not blaming it on him. Remember, I talked about it before with y'all. It could have just been my healing, it could have been on my part.
It could have been on your part. It could have been on his part. Who the fuck knows?
Yep.
Yeah.
Could have been both.
Yeah, who knows? So could have been both. Yeah. So anyway, they filled in some, but the problem was they only could get, I'm like down on my donor now. So it's like 1,200 grafts. And so he put 18 densely in the mid scalp, and then 800, and then 400 and some change in the scar in the back. So I mean, it was a successful day. It wasn't as much as I thought I was going to get. I actually got back quite a bit of my money, about $5,000 on that, because they didn't get the target amount, which I really appreciate their honesty on that. Some people, you never know.
That's actually, I think that's a very salient point when it comes to your experience and also this entire fucked up industry. Because I've known there's so many guys that complain that say they paid for something and either they didn't get it, or for whatever reason there was an assessment made. Doctor felt that he can get 2,500 grafts done. They paid for 2,500 grafts, ends up being 2,650, and then someone comes, a business person or an office manager comes into the room while the person is under anesthesia and says, we were able to get another 1,600 grafts out. How would you like to pay for that? Yeah. It's like, what?
Well, that's what Arocha did to me, and of course, I signed off on it when you're 3 sheets to the win on volume.
You know what? Another reason I'm glad that we're no longer working together. I didn't know that. I didn't know you told me. Maybe you did say that, but that's so fucked up, man.
Yeah, and I did go for a year follow up, and he had this guy, and I don't like to talk bad about people, but he was just a used car salesman kind of guy. Didn't know shit about hair restoration. But anyway, going back to Yaker's deal, so when I left, the technician guy had said, Dr. Yaker didn't say anything, but the technician goes, I think you'll be happy with this and all that. But I'm thinking that low about a number. I mean, I'm hoping I see some kind of change or difference, from it. And that way, I mean, I know it's not a high number, but I know that his quality is really good. And
well, when it comes to what you're looking for, I mean, the number may not make. I mean, it's going to make a bit of a difference, but if all the grafts grow and everything is placed, correctly, and the grafts were utilized in a manner in which is going to benefit your overall aesthetics, then you're going to see an improvement, and it could be a significant improvement.
Yeah. Well, I think it's going to be because, I mean, you know how the illusion is. Let's say my hairline was pretty good because, beside the botched stuff in the 90s from Bosley, but I'd had enough modern day procedures to where the front was good. So I was thinking that mid scalp, and he was, I guess, agreeing with me that, that gets a little thicker, it makes the front look better. And then I can go back a little bit, so my crown's still like 30%. So, I think that'll help me. My concern is now is the donor area, but because there's a couple of there's those 2 stretch back marks behind both ears.
Yeah,
it doesn't seem like they filled that in, but they did this. It seems like they filled the whole scar around, even with 400 grafts. It appears to be. Of course, I got the tiny dots today,
right?
And I think I bled a little bit earlier today on one of them. That I've been using that spray that he gave me. Yeah.
Well, Joe, what are your thoughts?
And so, I don't think I lost a graft. I just think, I don't know.
Well, where's the bleeding from the back?
Yeah.
Was it in from this? Like, did you see if it was the scar area that was bleeding, or was it just extraction sites?
I don't. It was close to the scar. So I don't know if it was just an extraction place or if it was one of the grafts that they put in.
Well,
I don't know.
So if it's an extraction place, it's normal for extraction sites to bleed a little bit after the surgery, even for the first couple of days. But if you lost a graft, you wouldn't know one way or the other if it wasn't bleeding. Like in 6 months, you won't be looking at it and going, "Damn it, I missed a graft." It's
right. No, I know.
It's inconsequential. So it sucks, and it's like every graft is precious, blah blah blah. But realistically, you won't notice it in the end.
Right.
Hello.
So Joe, okay,
Spencer, was that you?
Yeah, I'm here. You there?
Jesus Christ.
No.
Yes.
No, But hey, listen. So Joe, here's explain this to me then. What he was talking about. Maybe you or Spencer can explain it. Now, Dr. Yaker was telling me before they were going to do the grafts in the back and the scar, he said something about he was going to use they were using the same punch or do whatever to and he said it was going to tighten up the scar some, and then they were going to do the implants. I mean, what does he mean by that? Like, he was saying that it would, something about it was going to make the scar, I guess, smaller maybe, and then they were inserting the.
So you're saying that
the graft. So
explain that. So he's saying that he's going to use he's going to punch into the scar to make it smaller,
or whatever, or punch into it somehow. I don't know if they were using the smart graft tool or if they or whatever. Because I was kind of out of it for a lot of it, But I remember him saying something about making before they were going to make the incisions, they were doing something else, and he said it would make the scar smaller. I don't know. I don't know which terms to use here. But,
that's okay, Joe. Maybe you could figure it out.
I'm not really clear on what's going on. You're saying that he used a punch to make the scar smaller before he made incisions to place the grafts into it.
Yeah, that's what it sounded like he was saying. Okay, well, explain to me, Joe. Then, what method would they do then? What is it called? Because it sounded like it was something that was real common that he does, where in a botched deal or something like that. Where
I can only imagine that he actually did an excision of part of the scar by cutting it out, and then are there any stitches in your donor region in your scar?
No.
Okay, I don't know.
No.
I don't know. I'll have to ask him.
I mean, he did something. Yeah, and then he did something at the end after the grafts in the back, like put some glue on it or something. Have you heard of that?
Maybe some sort of a glue?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, hang on. So maybe he did do an excision, a scar revision, like a small, tiny scar revision, and used. There's a medical grade glue that's used instead of sutures in some scenarios. Maybe he's using that. I don't know.
Yeah, but I think he put it was applied after the grafts were inserted.
Yeah, I don't know.
Would that make sense? Well,
you know what we can do is we can call Dr. Yaker right now and put him on the spot.
No. I mean, well, yeah, you could, but I mean, I guess that's two strikes for me. I thought y'all would have some answers for me. Damn.
Hang
on. Was the glue? Go ahead. I'm texting with him right now, actually.
There you go.
Okay. Oh, cool. And then
see, Joe's got it that way.
Let's see. Yeah, but he did. His technician mentioned his technician had some bad botched hair transplants like years ago, like 20 years ago. He's like a little bit younger than me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And he was saying that there's a guy in Houston named Ian that does he's phenomenal with the SMP, whatever it is. And he said later on, if I wanted, he thinks that I could have anywhere from 500 to 800 left, but I don't know if I want to go there and chance that. So, but he showed me pictures of his scars before, and then the guy here in Houston that does it, and it looked phenomenal. I mean, he had it down to like a.
And how long ago did he have the SMP?
Couple of years, I think.
Okay.
And I asked him how long it lasts. You know how it is, man. You go in there in a doctor's office and people, it should, or they'll give you, they use words like it should, or it could, or
right.
It depends, stuff like that.
Well, let me ask you, Bruce, I
forget
forget this. I think you told me you dye your hair, right?
Yes.
Okay. So, you have to be willing to keep your hair the color that it is for a long period of time. And if for some reason that ink is going to last, if it's permanent SMP, and if it's going to last and stay the same color, which I don't know if it will, that could last, 20 years.
Yeah. Well, Spence, if this, when, give it 6 months and things grow back, the hair grows back, I'll have a really good assessment and idea then on if I need to do that at all. And if I do.
Yeah. But I tell you, if you're willing, I don't mean to cut you off, but if you're willing to at some point let your hair now, if you didn't dye your hair, would it be completely white or would it be salt and pepper?
Yeah,
completely white.
Yeah, except in the back. In the how in the back some of the guys you got that little bit of the dark color down around the bottom and stuff. Yeah,
because if you're willing to go that route at some point, you would probably see so much less contrast of skin and scalp, and also of any potential scarring.
Right.
You know.
You mean letting it go white? You mean
let it go white, and you could even could potentially do some SMP in that color, salt and pepper or
well,
white.
see, I don't mind keeping it. I use a real good high end hair color, that doesn't have all the extra chemicals in it, so I can do it like every week and a half. And stay on top of that. That's not a problem. And I don't think. And here's what I think. And if I do need some SMP later, just for in the donor region, it's just going to be a real small amount, because I really think just with the 400 grafts that they put in the back, I think that's going to be probably a 50%, 60% improvement. So if I do need some SMP, it's not going to be a whole lot.
Okay. Joe, I think Joe may have an answer for you.
Way, Spence,
yeah, go ahead.
Spence, put it this way. It'll be something like, the difference with me not having to use Dermatch. Would that make, if you know what I mean?
Yeah. Absolutely.
I mean, if I got the SMP, so yeah.
The thing is SMP. Well, I think it could be awesome, especially for the short term. It can last for years to the point where, if you don't need it to be retouched, it could look really good. Every time you go in and get it retouched, if the ink doesn't completely fade, then you could have some confluence of color. And then if in 10 years or in 15 years, who knows what it could look like? So you just have to be prepared for that. Especially if you're older. Now, how old are you again? You're in your 50s, right?
55.
55. So are you going to want to dye your hair when you're 65 or 70? And do you think it's going to feel as comfortable dyeing your hair at that point?
Well, there will be a point in time probably where I'll just, I'm not going to give a shit.
Yeah, so
maybe it.
And then you'll stop dyeing your hair, and then you'll have like black marks all over the back of your scar, on your scar area, or dark marks.
But then they can go back with some.
So I got the answers for you. Let's move on to the answers that I got from the doctor himself about your case, if that's okay.
Yeah, I don't care.
Okay. So regarding the substance that was put on the grafts after the fact, it's a dermal glue so the grafts don't fall out of the FUE punch strip scar. And then I said, well, what'd you do to the scar before the placement of the grafts? And he goes, well, they use a 0.8 punch using the smart graft, and they punch out as much of the scar as possible. So, they were doing a revision, just not with a scalpel. They're using a punch. By removing scar tissue, the new hole that forms is filled in with a graft and will contract around it, essentially removing some of the old scar surface area by punching it out. Then reduce visibility of the scar with the implanted grafts, and then it's held in place by the dermal glue, a liquid bandage, which is what I was referring to. That's
so
what
I did have. Okay, so I did halfway understand.
Yeah.
Okay, about it. I just didn't know the terminology, verbiage.
Yeah, but that's actually very cool. What a lot of docs do is they'll just implant hair into the scar tissue without coring out any of the scar tissue. This is interesting. I like that.
Well, I did like the FUE guys, because it's just like I have no pain. I have nothing. I just take the antibiotics. I don't take any pain stuff. I mean, it's phenomenal, the job that they did.
That's great.
And you can't, and he doesn't shave the recipient area. Of course, they wet it down with the spray bottle enough where I guess they see what they're doing. But I looked at it with the mirror, handheld mirror, and it just looks like they're so small and tight. I'm just wondering how they get all that in there.
Well, they're good, and a lot of there's a group of physicians who believe, they work in the school of thought that they can work in between existing hairs, and that you do not need to shave your recipient area. And it also depends on how much hair you have on top. So it makes the downtime easier for the patient.
Yeah. So now this is the first time I had the little polka dot stuff going on. So like within 10 days, I should notice a real good improvement from that.
100%.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
It'll look in 10 days. You'll look pretty healed.
Yeah, and just one day on the sides, it looks like some of them are already starting to fade just in a day.
Yeah. If they're using small enough punches, which they are, really that punctate wound should close up and eventually fade, unless you are a person who really is, left with a lot of reddening of the skin. If you have very light skin, sometimes that can happen. But in general,
Yeah.
You're going to see a tremendous. The healing process is going to seem very short compared to your strip. Let's put it that way.
Oh yeah. That's strip. Man, both of them are kind of painful, and the tightness that you feel and everything.
It's fucking real. It's for real, man. Listen, I'm still a fan of a good strip, but it is for real. It is surgery. You're having a piece of your scalp removed, and then your scalp sutured together.
Right. And, and that's the thing, guys. I mean, it's, everything y'all preach, I think I've told y'all this 10, 15 times, that you could tell these young guys don't do it or just don't do whatever. Cause like you say, man, if you go to the wrong place from the beginning, like Joe and I did, I mean, it seems like you spend the next 30 years trying to play catch up or get it done right, get it right, especially now that I have the finances and, I'm getting ready to retire. The money wasn't a problem for me now, but then you start to get to a certain age where like, well, hell, I don't give a shit anymore.
Yeah. You want to buy, spend it on a car or, on
right. Or vacation or something. Yeah. Yeah.
Look, I get it, but you're not at that age yet. You're still young.
Yeah. I mean, but you're right. I got another good 10 years of traveling and having fun and, or so.
You're not ready for a retirement home or playing pickleball or any of that shit, man. Just, you're getting your hair, you're going to get all set up. You're going to look good, feel comfortable. And, you've been, I'm sure you're pretty physically fit since you're a cop and all.
Yeah, I do. I'm always in the gym doing stuff, trying to keep the weight down, doing all that. But hey, so Joe Smith, what do y'all think about, that low amount of grafts in the donor? Because it's about half of what his target was, I think. Will that still show some improvement?
You'll definitely see an improvement. If they grow, you're definitely going to see an improvement for sure. Yeah. And it could be significant.
Yeah.
So don't stress about it.
Yeah. No.
Look, they want to be able to utilize the grafts wisely, and honestly, the fact that he had to give you a refund, it speaks volumes that he didn't feel comfortable removing any more donor currently, for this particular session, and that maybe, he wanted to reserve 500 or 600, whatever he felt was left for potentially for another surgery if he needed it.
Right, it'd be a small one, he said, but he wasn't. I don't think, man, if I remember right, I think the guy that's been doing it for 30 years did the extractions.
Yeah, that's the way that it is. The best physicians in the field are delegating to very good technicians or RNs or PAs.
Yeah, and he was telling me the whole time he was talking to me, he goes, yeah, from your previous, surgeries, he goes, at one time I could tell you did have a really strong donor, like way above average, but he said, over time with the strips, he goes, it's kind of limited you now. So he was telling me I'm going wider with the deal, and I don't want to get too aggressive. And I said, yeah, because I want to keep it at least at a 4 guard, Yeah. Yeah, and then he was saying, but man, when they're done with it, y'all, those holes do, when you're looking at it in a picture, they look pretty big. At first you're going, damn.
Yeah.
You're looking at them.
But they close up very quickly. Within actually, if they would have taken your picture, if they would have sprayed your scalp with very cold saline, those dilated punctate wounds would have closed up about halfway. So there's a lot of guys that actually they will set up their imaging like that for Facebook or Instagram, and they really clean that area, add a lot of moisture, compression in some cases, but definitely cold water, and that kind of shrinks it within minutes. So,
and the ironic thing, the funny thing, y'all, is that I got on his topical that he does himself I guess he did the chemistry work on at the pharmacy, and it's with the minoxidil finasteride, and then there's another word with the letter C or something. And I've been using that for 3 months, and I swear, y'all, just going back yesterday after 3 months, I see an improvement just from 3 months of his topical.
Well, that's great. So that's really great to hear.
Really like to hear that. Yeah.
And I think that he's. I definitely think. Serious. I'm just saying. I think he's on to something. That's all I'm going to tell you.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, man. Listen,
Yeah,
Bruce, we're gonna
let
you go, man. I want to because
yeah.
we got a lot of calls,
Okay.
but I hope we were able to help you.
Okay.
And I want to thank
Yeah,
you
you were.
again for
You
your
were.
service as always.
Oh, thank you.
And I think
Yeah,
you're going to
thank
be.
you. I appreciate that.
I think you're going to come away with a much better experience this time.
Oh, I do too. I
All
can
right.
just tell the night and day difference. Yeah.
All right, buddy. Good talking to you.
All right.
Good
Thanks
luck.
for going, man.
You
All
too.
right,
All right,
take
bye.
care. Bye bye.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
888-659-3727. Hey, you're on the air. Who's this and where are you calling from?
It's Morty from Brooklyn.
Fucking Morty
Hello,
gets
Morty.
through. I had a choice of 3 lines.
Hey, guys.
Hey, what's up, man? How are you?
Oh, I'm doing okay. Allergies are driving me nuts. Coughing up a lung where the allergies are. But otherwise, I'm okay. Hair's growing in nice.
Yeah.
It's funny, I haven't been to a barber in probably about 20 years because I just used to buzz my own head.
Sure.
And there's enough hair on my head now that I'm not sure what the hell to do with it.
Well, maybe you ought to maybe you ought to find a good barber, or when Dr. Cole is in town, you should see if he has somebody that he can refer you to.
Well, actually, he does. It's Christos is the guy that is his partner over there. So I'm actually going to go see him tomorrow. I actually was over there last week. I got a chance to take a peek inside the surgical suite for the first time as somebody other than a patient, and it was an experience to watch these guys now instead of from the chair, but from the outside looking in. It was kind of amazing, and yeah, I mean the play-by-play was sort of interesting to watch his techs. Now looking from the outside looking in, and
Morty, you should train to be a tech.
You think?
You make a lot of money, man.
I don't know if I have the hands. I don't know if I have the hands for it, but it was interesting to watch them. The other thing that I saw them doing was a lot of this regenerative stuff, like because I did 2 fat transfers with him, and he was doing another fat transfer with this particular patient that was there, and how they extract the fat and then how they run it through these filters and spin it down, and they're doing all of this other kind of stuff. I'm very curious to know what you guys think of all of this fat transfer and regenerative medicine stuff that he's been doing all this research on.
I think that it's interesting. I think that there has been some evidence with other applications in cosmetics and aesthetics where I've seen some improvement. I don't know much about except for what I've read about what's happening in hair. I haven't seen anything close up and personal. So, there's a lot of talk. I think there's also a lot of money to be made in that arena.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of speculation. But I don't poo-poo it because I definitely believe that, and I've seen it in other aesthetic procedures, facial procedures, even when it comes to minimizing scarring and things of that nature, where it's actually done some really significant changes and positive stuff. So, I mean, who knows, man? Listen, I take John for his word, and he's doing a lot of research, and he's involved with a lot of the top regenerative medicine guys in aesthetics, for sure. And he's really, pushing this and kind of pushing the envelope as far as in the world of hair transplant surgery. So let's just hope that at least 50 to 70% of the stuff that he's working on is of value, because that would be huge.
Yeah, I mean, he's certainly putting in a lot of effort. I mean, he was showing me some of the tricks that he does. Where he's got all this great equipment where, like, he'll basically. I mean, if you go to get PRP or one of these other types of regeneratives, they just use a kit, and he's over there with measuring devices and taking measurements of the number of platelets per million extracted.
There's a few guys in the industry that do that. And there's a few companies that offer certain, pieces of equipment that could help with that and make that happen. I know that Alan Bauman is another guy he's really into measuring the platelets, and I know that Joe Greco knows what he's doing. But with all of that said, I have a lot of faith in John, Dr. Cole, and he really has helped a lot of people over the years. So until I'm usually a guy until I see it, I don't believe it. But the fact that he's doing it on a regular basis, I know that he's seeing results, and I see what he's posting in message groups and just his involvement in that arena. I think it seems exciting. But from what you're telling me on your own personal experience, you're not sure if any of that stuff helped you.
Well, look, remember how I asked you about how quickly my hair was growing in, and then, at first I was thinking that I was growing in quicker, and, then you basically tell me, no, that's kind of standard to say that, within 3 to 4 months that you can get decent growth, and I'm very pleased with the growth that I've gotten.
You look good.
And so, yeah, thank you. And I'm believe me, I'm very, very pleased with the results. And like I said, every day that every day it looks. I would say that I wouldn't say that it's plateauing, but I mean the difference is not as significant. It's funny because I used to keep my hair so short that I didn't really notice hair fall, but now I comb my hair and I see a few hairs in the sink and I'm freaking out because. But then I realized, it's because you actually have hair on your head.
That's correct.
That tends to help, yeah. It tends to help to actually have hair to be able to, have
exactly.
hair falling out. So, yeah.
Yeah. So it was just kind of it was kind of funny when I thought about it, but so I mean, it's let's put it this way, it's interesting to see somebody who is that passionate about trying to make these things work.
Yeah.
And, I mean, he just he recently got himself a hyperbaric chamber.
Yeah.
Which, there's definitely some evidence that it can speed up healing and stuff like that.
I have one in my bedroom.
Really?
No, I'm kidding.
I'm in one right now.
Okay, Michael Jackson.
Look,
anyway,
here's what I like about John Cole. He's always been a pioneer. He's always been a leader in the field. And I also know that he wants to leave a significant legacy. Now, he already has. Like, if he dropped dead tomorrow, this guy has already done a lot for this field. But I think he wants to go, the extra mile and really make some significant changes scientifically with regenerative medicine and, with the combination of, just the best surgery with the best possible regenerative results. So it's cool.
For sure. No, I mean, like I said, what he's doing is extremely cool, and like and when he explains his theories, like he does sonication, where he basically takes instead of using a calcium chloride to burst the platelets, he puts it in a sonicator, which basically gives it a shake and bursts them using sound waves. And like he literally then takes the stuff, runs it through the machine, and shows that the platelet count dropped because the platelets had been burst. And that's I was like, okay, that makes sense. A burst platelet means growth factors released, et cetera, et cetera. So like I said, I mean, very very clever ways of doing things. And like I said, it's good to see someone who's very passionate about what he's doing and trying to do more research and all that. So that's pretty. Like I said, I'm very grateful to have him as a friend and for him to share all of this really neat stuff with me. So,
I'm just waiting for the day when you say that you're working in the front office.
Exactly. I'm waiting for the day when I call the office and
it's
thanks
Morty.
for calling forhair.com. This is Morty speaking. How can I help you?
Yeah. It wouldn't. Let's put it this way. I wouldn't be surprised. But I think it's going to be a little way away. I still actually have a career as a software engineer, so I'm going to keep doing that at least for a little while longer.
Well, the good thing about hair is you could be old as shit and still be in it. There's a lot of guys who are still hustling hair who are like 80 years old.
Yeah, they should retire.
So, all right, Morty, listen.
Well, that's a whole other horse of a different color. Guys, thank you so much for being who you are and for continuing to put up this show and continuing to help Norwoods like me and all that. And one other thing that I wanted to mention with the whole sexual harassment thing.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I'm a free speech kind of a person.
Yeah.
So if you want to say dumb shit and you're willing to take a punch in the face if somebody says dumb shit, if you say dumb shit to the wrong person, more power to you.
Yeah, I feel the same way. And listen, I always talk about bald shaming, and just because everything's shaming now. There's body shaming and body image this and body positivity, and you can't say anything to anybody about anything. And I'm just like, look, and fat shaming. I'm just like, look, hair loss is still the last bastion of political incorrectness. and maybe penises, hair loss and penises. So I mean, people, so it's all basically geared towards men's, insecurities, issues, whatever it is. Why is that okay? But I agree with you, Morty. This has gone way too far. I think people should be nicer to each other.
Yeah, but I don't think there should be a law that says that you have to be nicer to each other.
I agree.
That's the whole thing. To me, I believe in charity, not taxes. I believe in saying nice things and being nice to a person out of the goodness of your heart, not because you're afraid of getting sued.
100%.
That's just me.
I'm personally offended by that position.
Yeah, I just saw Joe get triggered as soon as you said that.
I'm canceling you. I'm canceling you.
All right. I am canceled. Guys, have a good night.
All right, buddy. Take care. Good
Thanks
luck.
for calling.
Take care.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Okay.
Consider yourself canceled.
Phone number is 888-659-3727. Man, it's funny. The messages that I get are just, people are so fucked up. I'm not even going to read them, but you got to laugh. You got to laugh at...
Grade A?
Yeah, the haters out there, and I just laugh at it. It's just like, dude, you're taking the time after you view my content to say something fucked up. And I've been dealing with this for fucking 25 years. And every time it's just like, don't you have anything better to do with your fucking life, man? Like Rogan always says,
15
don't
seconds
read.
you can get back.
Rogan's like, don't read the comments. Like, I can't even imagine what he would, if he wasn't, psychologically bulletproof in that sense, what he'd be dealing with, emotionally.
He wouldn't be on air.
Yeah.
He wouldn't be doing what he's doing.
Well, trust me, being the hair loss guy and being the first hair loss guy when you're in your fucking early 30s on the radio, that was not easy, man. Trust me. I was loved and hated. I was cheered and just fucking trashed, especially by the industry.
Loved and reviled.
Yes. Guys, we have a couple more minutes, but all the lights are off. So I'm going to go. If someone doesn't call in 5 minutes or within a 5-minute period, we are going to call it a night. We had a lot of great calls, and I think, I'm very comfortable with ending the show right now. But I'll give out the phone number. It's 888-659-3727. If you want to see us continue the broadcast live for another, you know what? And my video just stopped. So I didn't have enough storage space.
You
Joe.
didn't.
No.
You.
If you
buy
want
a bigger hard drive.
Yeah, if you want to see us
one.
continue, I'm gonna hook that up. If you want to see us continue the show for another 20 minutes or so, call in and we will. Otherwise, we're just going to call it a night. 888-659-3727. Go ahead, Joe.
I will throw out a suggestion. So people can call in and tell us what they think. I'm headed to Turkey at the end of the month for a surgical workshop. I was invited out to Istanbul. I'm going to be there for a week and a half, and I'm thinking about taking the camera and a microphone out on the streets of Istanbul and walk up to these people that have obviously had their procedures, because they're everywhere. You see them with the bandages and the stupid headbands.
Yeah.
Advertising where they just walked out of, and they're on their the tourist leg of their surgical tourism trip, and just ask them about, like I'm thinking about, I thought of this today, just ask them why they chose to come to Turkey, obvious answer, because of price, and then why they chose the clinics, respective clinics that they chose, and they'll say because of the great results, and then I'll say, what great results? Are you talking about the immediate, after Instagram posts of some guy that just had his surgery done and then fucking thumbs up? Is that what you're talking about, results? And I want to dig into this. I want to get into the mind of some of these people and see what actually brought them there. See if they actually put any sort of thought into their decision, or if it was just flying by the seat of their pants looking at Instagram stories. So what do you guys think? Let me know. Give us a call.
You should do it.
659-3727.
I'll tell you what I think. We do have calls on the line. You should do it. And I guess the question is, will these guys speak to you? I think they will. Obviously they're walking around with fucking bandages on their head.
They're doing the thumbs up bullshit on camera, full face. So why wouldn't they talk to me? You know.
I think they would.
And I thought about doing another undercover consultation, but I don't think I could get away with it this time because any clinic I'd want to walk into, they'd know who I am. They'd be like, lock the doors.
I would see
pull the shutters.
I would see if I can get into that woman's that insane, and I don't know if she's actually insane, but she appears to be a little too happy, and I understand why, because she's making the paper, But the fact that that's a reality is mind blowing.
Making those TikToks, I swear to God, is so much fun.
Yeah,
grabbing these TikToks and making my own mashup. It's just I have so much fun with that because, like, if I didn't see these TikToks, I wouldn't believe it when someone was telling me that this broad's dancing in front of the mirror, like this last one. She's doing some sort of dance routine for the patient. But, it's like, what the hell's wrong with these people? They have no pride. They have no self-awareness.
But they have no self-awareness. They don't. It's because the industry has been so commoditized, and sometimes when you say a word or you write a word down, you look at it and you're like, "Is that a word?"
Yeah,
just for a second.
Yeah.
It's and social media lends itself to this nonsense, and that's just the way that it is, man. There's no fighting it. We are going to make a dent in it this year, and we have an opportunity which we're going to take advantage of, like we spoke about at the beginning of the show. But unless people smarten up, and that's not going to happen anytime soon, sadly. And that may sound like a douchebag comment to some people, but that's just the truth, sadly. Because if that weren't true, I don't think there'd be so many walking wounded. And the number of walking wounded has grown exponentially just in the last year. We're talking about even during the downturn of a pandemic, we're seeing more people whose lives are being destroyed by this surgery than ever before in my 25-year career.
Yep.
So, you guys hung up. Fuck you guys. We're going to go.
You guys were actually on the line and you hung up while he was talking? How rude.
So give out the website, Joe, and we'll call it a night.
All right. Let's see. Start with apetogentleman.com if you want to watch episodes of the Bald Truth UK with Spencer Speck Stevenson and this guy, Spencer Kobren. We can't see him because he put me on solo on the camera. Anyway,
that's correct.
Yeah, every week there's should be new clips. Depends on how busy this guy is if he puts up the clips himself. But yeah, that's apetogentleman.com. It's a great men's lifestyle online magazine as well for watches and cars and grooming tips and all that good stuff. It's a good resource for that. So check that out. That's apetogentleman.com. Let's see, International Alliance of Hair Restoration Surgeons, found at iahrs.com. It is the safe place to start when you're doing your research for qualified hair restoration surgeons. They're not perfect. There is no such thing as a perfect hair transplant doctor, but they are a cut above the rest based on ethics and education and, of course, skill overall. So check that out. That's International Alliance of Hair Restoration Surgeons, which leads into American Hair Loss Association, AmericanHairLoss.org. It's the de facto standard reference by big media, magazines, Men's Health, Maxim Magazine, newspapers, Wall Street Journal, New York Post, Washington Post, you name it. They all refer to American Hair Loss Association when they want to validate their own stories about hair loss or hair restoration. That's AmericanHairLoss.org. There's also great supporter of this channel. It is HairLossCure2020.com. Great resource if you want to find out the true cutting edge when it comes to hair multiplication, hair cloning, non-surgical methods of hair restoration. Like I said, great supporter of this channel. We really appreciate them or him, the guy that runs it, supporting us, and he puts this broadcast on his website every week when we're live, so certainly appreciate that. My own website, hairtransplantmentor.com. It's got my own personal story about my 30 currently 29 years of dealing with surgical hair restoration and everything I've been through. You can also learn more about the doctors I work with. They are Hair Transplant Mentor accepted members. They meet my own standards for what I think is worthy of consideration. And I've also got the largest glossary and terms and definitions found on the interwebs regarding hair loss and hair restoration terminology. That's hairtransplantmentor.com. And if you're listening to this broadcast on Spotify, iHeartRadio, iTunes, any of those, you can also watch live right here on YouTube. It's youtube.com/hairtransplantmentor. Back to you.
Thank you, Joseph.
You're welcome, Spencer.
Guys, we are going to call it a night. Thank you so much for tuning in. Until next time, be strong, God bless, and again, thank you so much for listening. Have a good one.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry for any inconvenience you may have been put to prior to the program, and I'm glad you enjoyed it. And if you could now leave by the exits at the rear, that'd be splendid. Thank you. Good night.